Welcome to In Your Element, the podcast that unlocks practical wisdom in higher education, where leadership meets real talk. I'm Brendan Henkel, Manager of Solutions Engineering here at Element451.
And I'm Daniella Nordin, Element451's Director of Customer Success and Engagement. Join us every other Thursday for discussions with everyday heroes using Element451 in enrollment, marketing, and student success. We'll unlock the practical tips to help you make waves on your campus.
In Your Element is a part of the Enrollify Network, a robust collection of podcasts designed to help higher education professionals like you grow. Explore our other shows at enrollify.org or check out some of my personal favorites linked in the show notes below.
Enrollify is made possible by Element451, the leading AI-powered all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com. All right, everybody, welcome back to In Your Element. I am very, very excited to have the 2024 Element451 Captain of the Year joining us today, Kathy Taylor from Wake Tech. Welcome, Kathy. Thank you for being here.
Yay, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we had to hold off for autographs and pictures after the show, folks. So get in line.
Save your applause for later. Yes, yeah. Oh, man. So I had the honor of reading your award aloud at this year's Engage 2024, and I would say you were surprised by this honor.
I was. In fact, I have no idea what you said about me. Lindsay asked me the other day, what did she say? I said, I have no idea because she said my name. And I was like, wait, what? Me?
Well, we know how important captains are, so I can recap a little bit and just say, we really rely on Element451 captains on campus to help drive projects forward, to increase adoption, to think about the creative ways that you're using Element in the work that you do. And I think that's a great segue for you to maybe tell us about some of those creative things that you do, and maybe give a little bit of background about Wake Tech, because Wake Tech is a very important institution, I feel like, what you all are doing, what you mean to the North Carolina community colleges. Start there, and then let's go a little more specific.
Cool. So Wake Tech is the largest community college in North Carolina. We're very excited about that. And so before Element, we didn't have a CRM. So we were the human CRM. We were very manual. My previous work was in admission records. And so I oversaw the processing of applications. And so it was very, very manual. We'd process applications first, and then we'd go back and process transcripts. So then that would take, we're touching students multiple times. And so flash forward to Element Land, it's been wonderful because we've been able to streamline our processes and we're not touching students as often. And then also we're able to have a lot more streamlined communication and detailed communication. So before we would just send like one email of your next steps. And it was like, here's 1 through 5 of all these things you need to do. And students would get lost. They didn't know, what to do next, or they would do step 1 and then they're just sitting there and they don't know what to do or, where to go. There was no portal to log into to see where they're at and what their status was. And so now having the direct communications and split out communications, we're able to be like, Daniella, activate your student account. Okay, you did that. Okay, now we're going to tell you that you need to send, your transcript. And then also on the flip side, the students are able to go in and see where they're at in the process, and they're not really as lost as they were before. So that's something that's been really huge for us, is just having the ability to communicate. And even though it kind of seems kind of simple, because I was trying to think through what would I say about the biggest thing and what's been the most impactful, but I really feel like just being able to break things out for these students has been really great.
I think that what you see here, and I don't think it's weird that you say that that's the biggest thing at all, because a lot of times whenever we're talking to people that are looking for a new solution, or they're in an old one that may not focus as heavily on student engagement, what you hear all the time is we'll ask questions like, hey, what are you currently doing? What are your comm plans? How are you engaging with students? And they're like, oh, well, we don't text them. We're sending manual emails. We're managing with spreadsheets. And you're like, what in the world? Like, you think like
Right.
that you're kind of in this bucket where you're like, well, we don't do it and we're like the only ones, but it's across the board. And I think the biggest impact you can have is meeting students where they are and just showing them the right way to go. As simple and as straightforward as that sounds, like that is the most impact that you can have, because student engagement's why we hinge everything on a student-centered platform. Because when you do that, that's when you start to see those big jumps in the impact that you're having on them.
Right. Exactly. I was just gonna say, just recently, I heard from our advising department that now they're having advisors have students come in and they'll flip their phone over and they're looking at their microsite of what's next. Like they're like, I've completed these steps are here. I'm here at advising, and so I didn't know that until just recently. So that was exciting to hear that they're actually using that microsite.
I think you maybe know this better than most, Kathy, but when you come from not having a CRM, the tracking that's available to you too, once you move that personalized communication in, because I would stay awake at night on campus thinking about the emails that were going out, maybe without branding or without the right information, or missed responses coming in from students. And so having a centralized place where all of those communications are going through too just gives you such a better picture of the students that you're working with. So I don't think that's weird at all that it's personalized, that it's timely. I think that's a great answer. So I got to ask you, Kathy, what tips do you have for other Element captains out there, maybe just starting or further down their journey?
I feel like just starting, I would share, which I've shared with many people that have reached out, so especially the North Carolina community colleges that are my new friends, is to network and make new friends and, reach out to people and connect and see what each other's doing and try to, work together because we can't all come up with an idea on our own. So being able to have the time to network and, call them up, go visit them. We had a school just visit us just recently, and it was nice just to get around the table and share, the different things we do and how elements helped us and, just giving out ideas and stuff like that. So my biggest thing is listening to the podcast.
Shameless plug. Thank you very much.
And then I listen to it like every week. I'm like, let me listen to one podcast and get, some information or whatever. So thank y'all for the podcast. But yeah, just networking with your fellow captains is the best way to me to be able to, hit the ground running.
Have you been able to dig into the Element community through Circle at all? And I know that, getting in person is awesome. Like that example of getting around a table and just meeting and having a school visit you is great. But digitally, like on a more regular basis, is that someplace where you are looking, seeing what people are asking, what they're doing, throwing things out there yourself in that Element community?
I wasn't at first, but most recently I've started to get in there a little bit more because I've had people say, "Hey, did you see the question in the community?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I missed it today. So let me go look." And so now I've put it on my list of every week. Let me just look in there and see, does anybody have questions or can I ask a question? Because we have a few things that come up. And we're like, "Hey, I wonder what everybody else is doing." But yeah, it's a great place to find out info.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've recently started describing it as like the Reddit of Element 451. Like anytime you need something to get done, like you need to know an answer to something, you need to know a question. Like, yeah, we have our help articles and things like that are phenomenal. Shout out to Michael. But we also, that community is huge because you're just able to go and see this forum of experience and shared knowledge and wisdom. Some people that have been partners for years and other people that just became partners and they're super curious. And you get to see not only ideas of things you can do, but also best practices of what others are actually doing and utilizing. And to me, that is just an invaluable thing that we've been able to incorporate on top of our live support. So I'm always curious how much people are digging into that and utilizing that as a resource. So
Yeah, and I think it's also good for y'all to see kind of like if we have problems or we run into anything, we're trying to figure out how to do something and how I just feel like the Element team can kind of be get in there and say, oh, we kind of see. And then, I feel like some of our suggestions are, quickly taken. And then our lovely, crew that can update things and fix things for us are right on it. So I really appreciate that.
What are some of the questions that people ask you in person, like the campus visit that you mentioned? Because I feel like sometimes they're a little, they're not sure how to ask us because we work at Element. And what's the inside scoop on some of the things that folks are asking you as an Element user?
So all of my North Carolina community college friends want to see how it looks since we're a little bit special with our CFNC application that's rolling through. And then a lot of them want to hear about how the students are doing, how the applicants are making it through the process. Is it actually helpful to have, a microsite? Is it helpful to do these workflows where you set them up and the communication goes out every so often? And so mainly they're wanting to see what it looks like for the most part, and like kind of how we've done it and how we've done our decision board and all of that stuff.
Can you actually explain the CFNC process, even if you're outside of North Carolina for our listeners? This principle is really cool how Element handles these imported applications we even have partners who use like Apply Texas or the Common app, for example. So could you actually walk folks through that? You were a pioneer in this and really kind of set the standard for a lot of our North Carolina schools.
Sure. So North Carolina has a organization called the College Foundation of North Carolina. And so all of the community colleges, we have our free application through that site. So we were able to set it up to where students can apply to that site as normal. And then all of their information flows into Element and then it flows over to Colleague. And so that was quite because we were the first ones. So trying to figure that all out was interesting, but fun. I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like I learned some tech stuff. So I feel halfway techie, but no, it's been a good process. And I'm glad that we kind of led the way. And so that other community colleges in North Carolina can jump on board and hopefully just take what we've done and, apply it to their school. So
That's so cool.
Hey there, it's Mallory, Chief Strategist of Enrollify. Higher ed is facing a leadership crisis. The demands on today's college and university leaders are skyrocketing, and talent is leaving the industry at an unprecedented rate. New leaders like you are emerging, but no one is getting the proper training to be successful. Well, Enrollify is here to change that. Our new course, Lessons in Leadership, taught by Dr. Carrie Phillips, will prepare you to be a confident, empathetic, and effective leader. From systems thinking to adaptive leadership, building culture to handling difficult decisions, this comprehensive online course is perfect for new and aspiring leaders. Don't wait. The course starts September 9th, and for a lucky group of 26 students, we have the option to add interactive sessions with Dr. Phillips for personalized guidance. Visit Enrollify.org to learn more.
Now, I have to ask because, this is proverbial. I think we said before we started recording, this is like your Super Bowl parade, right? And so you've done, like, you've reached the pinnacle. You are captain of the year. Like, that's the top of it. You don't go higher than that. So the question is, what's next? What is next for what you all have as far as goals with Element 451? What are, goals of, things that you want to start building in the system, start using? I'm sure being at Engage, you saw all of the new AI stuff that we're utilizing. Like, what do you look at for where we're going as a company and where you all are going as an institution, and what excites you to kind of start rolling out and doing next?
yeah, so we loved Engaged, and AI is amazing. We were already started, like, as soon as we got back, we started using Copilot for various things. I mean, I kept hearing people say, I just had Copilot write me an email, and I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad you're using it. I'm glad you were listening. But we're really excited about the student portals. I think we're a pilot school for that. So we're very, very excited to get going on that and just make that student experience just that much more better. And then I'm working on I'm adding in applications for some of our health science programs, like clinicals and stuff like that. And so I just started building those out last week just to try to pilot with 4, and then we'll eventually get to all of them. So that's pretty exciting to kind of start bringing in other areas of the college and helping, streamline processes and get away from that paper. We're still in the paper clinical application where they fill it out and then they scan it in and send it into an email box. So that's going to be really huge for our health science programs.
That is going to be huge. Have you all started thinking about what you'll use student portals for?
We just started kind of thinking through it, but we haven't mapped it all out. But we're just really excited to be able to communicate with them and kind of figure out, get them to their next steps to getting registered for classes for the next semester. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so you looked ahead. I kind of want to go backwards, and maybe thinking about your time at Wake and with Element 451. What's the thing you're proudest of with your work with Element 451?
So I'm going to go with, so my proudest thing, I think, for me personally in this last year is that I built out a complete application process for our we have a STEM program for our current students that they can apply for the STEM math and science program through START. And so I didn't even know about this program at all. And so I'm walking in blindly, like not knowing, what they do and how they work, but building that application process for them, their applications went way high, and like the person that is over the area, she just keeps saying this is so much better than what we used to do. This is so much better than what we used to do. So I think my biggest thing is I'm really enjoying helping people, like internal staff, make their lives easier, like, not where they're having to do so many different platforms to try to, get this process going, and then also easier for the students as well. So that's probably my biggest thing, is that every time I get a chance to show somebody something in Element, I just get really excited about that. But that was a big project, a big lift. So I was on top of all my other CF&C integration fun. I was doing that, but that was probably one of my best things that I was proud of. Yeah.
I feel like that makes that captain piece that just reiterates what we sort of spoke about at the beginning, is like your role is to be an ambassador for that product and to get folks thinking about the different ways, or thinking about ways that they never thought of before, using that platform to do that. So building out an application and that whole process is such a great example, and bringing on a whole department or a team and having some quick wins, showing them the value of getting onto a system and changing that process. It's so hard to do in higher ed, Kathy. So that was a very, very good example.
I wasn't sure how I was going to go, because I didn't know, but yeah, it was a really great process from start to finish. So
That's awesome. Yeah, buy-in is traditionally the most difficult thing to get from institution-wide, right? Like, so from your admissions to your advising to your faculty to everyone, right? And so being able to not only get buy-in, but to get positive feedback of, wow, this is changing what we do for the better, and it's changing the student's experience for the better, to be willingly getting that feedback is huge, because that's going to spread like wildfire. Positive, feedback will spread from one place to the next, and that'll only increase buy-in as you go through. So that's really awesome. Definitely something to be proud of. All right. Did we ask the in your element question already?
We have not asked it.
We didn't. We have to.
Do you want to do the honors, Brendan? She knows it's coming. Everybody knows it's coming.
I knew coming. Yeah.
Everyone knows it's coming because it happens on every episode. So,
every episode.
Kathy, this is your moment. This is like you have your award in hand. You're standing at the microphone. You're not going to thank anyone, but you are going to tell us, when are you in your element?
So here's what's funny. I actually have two instances, because if you would have asked me 6 to 8 months ago, I would have said one thing. But in the last month, I've kind of changed it. So I'm going to give you both. Since I'm captain of the year and all, I feel like I can give two answers, right?
Absolutely.
So,
take as long as you need, Kathy. Take as long as you need.
For my first one, I'm a real big into like data. I love data. I love kind of checking out to see, did this campaign, like how did this email go? Do I feel like there's a lot of opens? Is there a lot of clicks? And so I've always been like I have a few friends at work, and we call each other the data nerds, because we just love data. We like to like look at data and analyze it and see how we can better the process for students. So that's my tried and true. I'm a data nerd. But my most recent one, and what's funny is I knew this question was coming, and I was telling a coworker, and I was like, okay. And she answered what I was like, that's my new thing. So my new thing is actually training. I'm loving training people on Element and being able to, introduce them to the platform and show them what all the different things it can do. I'm currently working with our workforce continuing education department and really teaching them, bringing them along to show them how to do various things. They were so kind to let us go first. And so now we're letting them have the floor. And so I've really enjoyed training and just being so I feel like I'm in my element when I get to train people and show them about this amazing platform and all the good things that it does.
You
That's
we can't stop there. We can't stop there. We have to dig on training more now that we know that this is when you're in element, because I don't think we uncovered this through the rest of the conversation. So this is another buy-in is one thing. Training is the other thing that is a big hurdle for a lot of schools, because they will have maybe like someone like they'll have a captain, right? But maybe that captain, maybe they're not in their element when they're training, right? Or maybe it's too big of a load for them to carry on top of the other roles of their job. So for those people that are in those positions, and I know you gave tips to other captains, but what are some big wins that you've seen with training and some best practices that you've seen in getting people on board and trained up in element?
So I decided I would take time out each week to have this is my training time. Like I'm available for an hour a week, specifically to our workforce friends, just trying to answer they've got so many questions, and they've got a lot of different departments in Element right now. And so I've been setting aside time. And at first it was like, oh gosh, can I add one more thing to my plate? Like, is it possible? But I've learned that just going ahead and planning to have training times and time to sit down and answer any questions has just been really helpful.
Teach a man to fish, right? If you teach a man to fish, then you're not constantly fishing for everybody, right? That's it ends up saving you time in the long run.
This is so crucial, though, because we get asked this question a lot. Well, what training do you provide? And we do provide training in the community, and you go through implementation. But I always say, you're the experts on your institution. You're the expert at Wake. You know what internal process you have, what your priorities are. We're the experts on the product, right? But we need people like you, Kathy, to close that gap and say, hey, I know that this is what the process looks like for workforce or continuing ed. And maybe we can bring it back to Element and say, how do we do this the best way, right? But that role is so important, because sometimes people will come to us, who have been using Element for 3 or 4 years and are so ingrained in your process that I'm like, well, I can show you how to build an application, but you're going to have to tell me what conditional logic you need, or where this goes next and how to build that process out. So I think everybody should start a 1 hour a week training program. You can go to Kathy's.
Yes, go to my training. Yeah. Lessons with Kathy. It's very fun.
Yes, yeah. Lessons with Kathy.
Lessons with Kathy.
I was going to say that this tracks with, so I read in your bio that you train for triathlons and an Ironman and ultra marathon. So I feel like the endurance athlete in you, Kathy, is in it for the long haul Are you training for anything right now that we can cheer you on, make signs for?
Well, I was thinking maybe you guys, I was hoping you would read that. So then I would say, hey, don't y'all want to do a triathlon with me? Wouldn't that be fun?
Listen,
you could have
we're great cheerleaders, not quite as
you
much.
can even have a relay team. You can have, someone that likes to swim, someone likes to bike, and
I think if you wanted a good laugh, we could we could throw our hat in, a nice comedic piece for everyone to enjoy. I don't think you'd be impressed. You might need to have the ambulance on the ready.
Surprised.
Certainly for me.
That's not our element. That's what I'll just put that out there. That's not where we're gonna shine. Oh goodness, Kathy.
But yeah, I'm training I don't have a race yet. I'm kind of rebuilding. So I've started over with my training plans. Hopefully next year we'll pull out a 70.3 or something like that. Something fun. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll come to Florida.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
funny.
I always offer to people, you're down here and you want to see the theme parks from the eyes of someone that goes all the time, who can help you plan it out. Shoot me a message. I'm happy to do it. So
we're going to do it. We'll do it.
Beautiful.
That's fantastic.
I will not run though. I'm not running. I will go to Disney with you, but I will not run. I will walk through Magic Kingdom for 22 miles, but I'm not going to run anywhere. I got to do it with a churro in hand or a corn dog or something like that. So running wouldn't work out too well.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Well, I think this is, people are probably thinking, please wrap this episode up. We can't talk about this anymore. No, this is a really good spot to close out. Kathy, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations again on the Captain of the Year, and good luck for running that 70.3 if that's really what you're planning for. Brenda and I are with you in spirit.
Absolutely. We'll be there on the sidelines with signs cheering you on. We'll even dress up. We'll wear some wake gear. So
There you go.
awesome.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kathy. Like she said, it's been a true privilege. Honored to have your Super Bowl parade here on In Your Element, and looking forward to what you all do in the next year.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
In Your Element is part of the Enrollify podcast network. If you like this podcast, chances are you'll like other Enrollify shows too.
Our podcast network is growing by the month, and we've got a plethora of marketing, enrollment, and higher ed technology shows that are jam-packed with stories, ideas, and frameworks, all designed to empower you to be a better higher ed professional.
Our shows help higher ed marketers and enrollment professionals find their next big idea and feature a selection of the industry's best as your host. Learn from Mallory Wilsey, Artis Kadu, Maya Demishkovich, and so many other of your favorite leaders in higher ed.
Enrollify is made possible by Element451, the leading AI-powered, all-in-one student engagement platform, helping institutions create meaningful, personalized, and engaging interactions with students. Learn more at element451.com.